shore. Who could afford not to be a part of what we're pushing toward? Overlord. Overlord. Oh, overlord. Please don't be magnanimous, protect your neck. Oh, overlord. Marshal my desires to your call and beck. Oh, it's assured. Good outweighs bad as we approach perfection. Overlord. Overlord. How can you try to help me? How can you try not to help me? Help me. Help me. Help me. Oh, overlord. Take the ones below me and I'll hold the sword. Oh, overlord. Who could serve a master who sits overlord? Overlord. Overlord.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to Rooster Grooves.
I am Jay Purcell,
I'm Jesse Quigley.
and we're here again another week. Got a little singer happening in the background. Hopefully, we can talk over that. You won't hear it too much, but as I've said on a couple of shows I've been recording here recently, there's a lot of live music happening in Pioneer Square.
It's nice.
Lately. The other day, when we were supposed to record these, couldn't do it because of timing, but there was a great live band playing out there. I think his name is Jimmy James, that guitarist out here.
Okay, nice.
Really good funk guitarist, and he had like 3 horn players, bass and drums, and it was all like James Brown type stuff.
That's rad.
But it was all brand new. Like, I think they're like I don't know what band name they're going by, but it might just be Jimmy James. But anyway, great stuff, and it was all free. He was just out there, and they were just rocking
That
this
sounds fun.
funk stuff. Yeah.
Right outside where this guy's playing right now?
A little bit further down, there's like a little pagoda. I call it a pagoda bandstand or something like that out there in the park, Occidental Park.
Right on.
That's where the summer vibes are happening here.
It is.
But this week, we are talking about a group called the Dirty Projectors out of New York originally, I believe. I think.
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, yeah. And this is my pick. I came across them probably like 2010, 2013 maybe.
So you've known him for a minute?
Yeah.
I've never heard of him up until when you
cool.
brought it to the table this week.
Yeah, I totally forgot about them actually because I came across them back then, but I haven't really sort of dived back into their music in a long time actually. So I can't even remember which album it was I was like listening to, but there was some videos on YouTube I think that I came across at the time.
Well, they got a lot of material out. So
yeah.
There's a lot to dive back into.
Almost 20 years they've been around for.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. It's basically indie rock, real vague term there. Anything from indie-tronica.
Yeah.
It's folky. It's kind of Americana folk. But yeah, a lot of, they're using samples, cool vocals, really interesting guitar stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they really do some weird stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
It keeps it really interesting, and it's really fun to listen to.
Yeah, I think they've been known for being kind of eclectic.
Yeah.
in what they do. There's some jazzy things happening. There's some sort of African things happening, and like you say, that sort of traditional folky indie stuff happening as well.
For sure.
Some people have described them as like new wave, like lumping them in with like David Byrne and Squeeze.
That's definitely who I thought of.
Yeah. Okay. And
yeah.
And also progressive rock like Frank Zappa and Yes. Although the lead guy, David Longstreth, said he hates Frank Zappa, so he doesn't get that reference.
Oh yeah, I think I saw him say that.
So, or Yes, so he's not really into those things. But
Zappa could be polarizing, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about him. I've seen like old interviews of him throughout the years, a few tracks here and there. He sounds pretty sort of psychedelic stuff or something.
Yeah,
like that.
he sounds talented, and
yeah,
I don't think it's ever been my style. I haven't
yeah
checked too much of it out, so I don't want to judge, but never got into him so far.
Yeah,
so far.
Yeah. So and I guess so like to sort of backtrack, I mentioned him. David Longstreth is the lead guy behind Dirty Projectors. It's basically his project, really.
He's the one main consistent guy that's been all the way through, kind of leading the charge.
He like writes all the songs. He is a multi-instrumentalist. He's like the band leader.
He usually produces the music too, right?
Yeah, as well. And so many other people that have come and gone throughout the years.
I mean, how many? There's like 20 different people that have been in there?
Something crazy like that, yeah. And we'll get onto it later, but most recently they kind of settled on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piece, including David himself. And we can talk a bit about that a bit later. But yeah, I think that's a good overview, maybe, of an introduction to Dirty.
I mean, really interesting music.
Yeah.
Real interesting to discover these guys. What's his name? David Byrne? Like Talking Heads?
Yeah.
That's the kind of show they remind me of, especially watching a couple of their live videos.
Right.
When they're up on stage. It's that same kind of, it's almost art rock.
Right.
You know, it's like an experience.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit deeper than just, here's my song, zing, zing, zing.
Right. Yeah.
They're like kind of presenting this weird aural. Is that how you say it? Aural?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not oral, but aural.
Like A-U.
Yes, A-U.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, super cool, super immersive, super kind of interactive.
Yeah.
I think it helps, you know, you got to kind of pay attention to this a little bit. It's not just beautiful music in the background.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Props to them. Super cool group, super cool music.
Definitely. And, you know, so there's so many people that have come and gone. I think we'll sort of just kind of, I will talk a little bit about David himself, like his early beginnings maybe. Too crazy to go over the background of every member sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I think that was my plan too. So
right, cool.
I think we're on the same page.
So he was born in Southbury, Connecticut. I've never been there. Never been to Connecticut or Southbury, so I don't really know.
Nor have I.
Yeah. In 1981, he was born there, so he's 39 right now. He said his parents weren't creative.
That's what I was gonna say. It's kind of interesting. They wanted him to be more professional. Yeah. And they were in fact paying for his school, I saw.
Yeah.
So they kind of were pushing him towards this.
Yeah.
I don't know what he wanted to be. Because it was him and his brother. He has one brother that's older.
Yeah, and he said his brother was kind of inspiring to him. He's an older brother, but he did a lot of like painting and drawing when he was younger and stuff like that, and that kind of inspired David himself. And more recently, actually, like it's been the first time that they've ever collaborated. Where on their most recent release, his brother has done all the album artwork for the EPs that have come out and stuff like that,
which is cool. Did he end up doing music too?
Yeah, he is a musician. Apparently, I think he plays in a Grateful Dead cover band or something.
Okay, cool.
He is also with, I think it's Vampire Weekend as the band. There's a member from that. The member from that band, and Jake is the name, I think, of David's brother. They do a show on Apple One on music.
Nice.
Radio called Time Crisis.
Good for them.
With Ezra Koenig, I think, is the other person on that. So, but yeah, so he didn't have a creative background. His parents were kind of traditionalist, like
traditionalist is a good way to say.
Study, get a job kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said his dad at a certain point was like, if okay, I can see you're sort of creative and starting to write things. So he was like trying to push him maybe towards more like journalism or something like that. Mm-hmm. Which David said is kind of funny now. He said, like, when you think about the context of journalism now and what it is as an industry versus what it was like in the 60s or even before the internet kind of thing.
I think what he means is it used to be more of a very professional gig, job.
Like you can get a job with a newspaper and that'll be your employer.
And it's I mean, what is it? It's respectful. Yeah. It's like the journalist is doing a good job. They're doing an honest work to get the news to the people, and really find out what's going on. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, you're a blogger. You're a journalist.
Exactly.
Okay, sure.
Don't even train anymore. You just blog and then you get paid by.
Yeah, just write whatever you want, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, well,
facts or not.
False news.
Fake news. Facts are opinions.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, so I mean, but he was showing interest in creative outlets. And he started writing and releasing music while he was in college.
Yeah, so he did go to college, and then I think he went to Yale, that's big, right?
I think that's kind of a prestigious school. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I got accepted, but I was like, I don't know what this is.
It's like you just rejected it. Nah,
I'm good. Nah, yeah. I reject you.
Yeah.
Yale.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. But yeah, obviously prestigious school, so probably a pricey school.
Yeah,
parents helping out with that.
And he did study music there. I think was what he was studying, and.
Yeah, he studied like classical music, like Stravinsky. Yeah, and also some jazz. I think he did some studying in. Yeah, maybe that's wrong.
Yeah, I think he was saying he was studying sort of classical composition and arrangement and stuff like that. And he only said whilst he was studying there, he just basically he didn't really go out. He just locked himself away in his dorm room making music all the time, and started getting material together. And he started like you said, putting out albums whilst he was still in college, and his first project was released under his own name. I think it was called The Graceful Fallen Mango. In 2002 he put that out, and then in 2003 was the first official album under the Dirty Projectors name, The Glad Fact. And I think like around this time he was like collaborating with a couple of other people, and he said it was the time of MySpace, so in between, so like he was studying and putting out albums, and then on the break, like the summer breaks, he was booking tours all around the US via MySpace, like getting in contact with people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that. So it was pretty super DIY. Putting it together himself. I think I remember him saying he would show up in Oklahoma or something at the showrunner's house, like, hey, I'm here, ready, where do we go? What do I got to do? Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
They're like, fuck.
Oh, you're actually here. Okay, well, let's do this. Let me make some calls. Like, we'll figure it out on the spot. Like, he was unputting or something.
I didn't expect him to show up and do the show or something like that. Yeah.
Which, goes to show how just on the rocks all this, putting together shows is and was at that time for these certain groups. It sounds kind of low budget. Yeah, DIY for the showrunners themselves, whoever's producing those shows.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think like if you're just making contact with people that, I think it happens as well that you get contacted as well by, if you got music out there and people are finding you, certain promoters are like inviting you to do shows. I know that's kind of happening a lot recently. I think with the projects we've been involved with, I think like Dave Shanae and Sultans and that Shayhan, I think. Sometimes they do get contacted by people that are putting on festivals or shows or whatever.
Right.
Mostly in this state. I don't know if they get contacted outside of, which would be cool though if that happened, But
yeah. Well, still some local acts getting some ground.
Yeah, but and so I think David said about those first tours, they were kind of shitty, because the promoters he didn't really shitbag any promoters other than the fact that, like you say, it was kind of DIY and they're not really, they're just sort of reaching out and doing a small show. But then, he said no one would really show up to these things, like they'd be in Alabama or somewhere crazy. Or something like that.
And it was like a national tour, but small time. It wasn't. They weren't playing stadiums at this time.
No, just
probably like smaller clubs and stuff.
Small, rock venues or whatever and stuff like that. So. Which is cool. Again, I think we've talked a lot about the importance of touring and like just getting started, and your early tours are going to be, or you know what they're going to be. I guess it's a learning thing, right? As well, like you get to learn about how different people are approaching things, the different venues, the different cities, the different audiences in the cities if they show up. You know,
you know where the rubber meets the road as far as seeing the industry from the inside out. How things work, what it sounds like talking to the people who are organizing this and that. So but I mean, you know, so props to him because he was, you know, studying school and just kind of doing this on the side. And I guess slowly falling in love with it. And eventually just is doing that full time now.
And I think he drop out of Yale?
I didn't see if he did, but I didn't see anything where he graduated.
I think he may have left. Something. A little bit of a gray area there. But in those early formative years, you know, they were just busting out albums. And I think, you know, he was getting the group together as a live band at that point with a few people. And he said the name Dirty Projectors, I think someone asked him about it, and he asked the question back as like, what do you think it is? So let's explore that for a second. What did you, when you first saw the name, what did you think it meant?
Well, I was thinking about it as I was listening to some of the music, and their music's pretty unique and pretty interesting, and kind of draws you in. It like as if it's abstract art as opposed to like drawing an apple in a bowl or something. Like something very tangible. You can see it. It looks realistic. Like realism. So I was thinking like Dirty Projectors, like instantly I feel like a dusty old projector in an old classroom. And it's like filming or projecting something old. And you know, you see all the little spots running through the projector and the lines going through. It's like super old school. So I'm thinking that, but mostly like what they're doing with their music, they're kind of projecting this different style of music. So as like they are the projector, the Dirty Projectors are the projectors projecting a different way of looking at music, that kind of through a different lens. Something like that is. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but hopefully that paints a little bit of a picture where I'm coming from.
I think so. Because that's what I thought when I first heard it. I thought about film projectors, real, like those big reels and stuff like that, old sort of thing. So because I think some of the tracks I was listening to at that time they're kind of sort of a little bit cinematic sounding, some of their music as well. So I got that, but like more recently, as I've been reading interviews with them and thinking about it, I think it's what he said his intention was as well, is like as people we're projecting like our ideas and our psychology on other people and things and all that. So that's kind of where he was coming from it. Like you're a dirty projector of.
We're all projecting. No, exactly. We're projecting our what we think is our perceived reality through our filter and lens and projecting that into the world.
Right. Exactly.
You know, like that's what people say. Like when you see other people doing things or acting certain ways. Like that's what you see as a projection of your own emotions or your own ideas. And that's kind of what you see everywhere.
Like that's not who I am. You're projecting that on me.
It's weird. Perception is reality though. To each individual.
And also like the projecting thing, I think can happen a lot with like celebrities and, the public projecting their image on famous people, which is why they get kind of fucked up about it a little bit as well.
Because it's not necessarily true. Somebody else is making that up about you and projecting that onto you and telling you and expecting you to act that way.
And sort of related to this, kind of funny, because I only watched this a couple of days ago, but it's related, is there's a documentary, I think made by the BBC about David Bowie. It's called The Last 5 Years. So it's like a documentary that explores what he was doing in his life in his last 5 years. And a lot of the themes he was talking about on his last album were to do with that fame concept as well. And I think David Bowie has talked about it a lot in earlier music as well, and tracks and stuff like that. But that was sort of coming up again in his later years. And And the fact that he wasn't giving interviews as well anymore for anything and stuff like that.
Well, he's still making music though.
He's passed away now, but
no, up until then he's still.
Oh yeah.
Like, didn't he? I think he died like weeks after releasing his last album.
Oh yeah,
which was I think called Black Star.
He passed away 2 days. It came out on his birthday, and then 2 days later he passed away. Yeah,
kind of creepy.
Yeah, he also did a musical as well called Lazarus that he like wrote and produced in like that last year as well.
Lazarus, is he gonna come back? That's the guy in the Bible that died and came back, right?
Oh, maybe that's why he picked. I don't know about this stuff, but yeah.
But no, that's like a good point with Bowie, because he obviously took on different personas, and dressed differently in different periods of his life as an artist, and projected that, like, what he wanted to be as his perception to other people. Like, look at me now, I'm this.
Yeah.
I'm this character. I am this. Whether you call it a character or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can project.
Yeah.
We all project.
Yeah.
Based on the clothes you wear, the things you say, the way you talk, things you talk about.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I feel like that's I think we're on the same page about projecting, and those were my ideas about his name.
Definitely.
But pretty interesting name, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
It's fine.
I like it.
I'm not like super thrilled about it.
No.
I'm not super
you've got
jazzed.
Dirty in the name of your group that you're going to live with for the next 20 plus years or something like that.
Dirty. Yeah. Well, yeah, especially them being a whole big old band.
Yeah.
Maybe the Dirty Van.
Yeah.
The Dirty Tour Van.
Oof. Yeah, that's one thing I would not be looking forward to if I went on a DIY tour around the States. No.
Well, let's play another track.
Yeah, should we hear something, the title track off of their first album, The Glad Fact?
Yeah, let's do it.
Came out in 2003 on a label called Western Vinyl. And yeah, here we go. The Glad Fact.
But here I go again. Well, here I go again. Here I go Well, here I go again. Well, here I go again. Here I go again.
Crazy track.
Pretty interesting.
2003 from the album The Glad Fact. That was the title track. Yeah.
So there's coming out of the gates.
Yeah, it was
Not afraid.
obscure. Like the first half of that track was just like drums, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, it was more like almost an electronic,
Yeah.
instrumental electronic song.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like a soul
Yeah.
a cappella kind of
Yeah.
vocally
Yeah.
poignant track.
A little bit like, is it Jim James we did an episode on? The way he kind of goes into that soul-y sort of indie vibe.
Yeah, they're like indie, but even a little country,
Yeah.
folky influence.
Yeah.
Jim James from My Morning Jacket.
Right.
I think they have new music out too this year.
Yeah.
Heads up.
Yeah. So that was 2003. Did 2 albums in 2003. Another one called Morning Better Last came out. 2004, Slaves, Graves, and Ballads. And then 2005, The Getty Address. All of these were on mostly the same label, but The Getty Address is a weird one. He said it was a concept album about Don Henley, who was the front man from the Eagles, or still is. I don't know too much about the Eagles or Don Henley, but
I'm not sure either,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they were obviously a huge,
Yeah.
influential band.
yeah. And some people describe this album as a glitch opera, and I heard a few tracks from it. It sounds actually weirdly like there's a lot of like African sounds or rhythms or something nodding to sort of those sorts of vibes, which is interesting. So
Well, wait, on that one, there's a lot of like strings and kind of orchestration also. Or am I thinking of a different album?
you might be thinking of another one, but there's some strings on this as well, and a little bit of sort of like electronic-y kind of sounds, which is why I think people call it glitch opera. Like,
Yeah.
because of that mixture of things, textures and sounds and stuff happening in there. Which is interesting because David was asked about, I'm not sure what the original question was, but he was basically saying he doesn't like synthesizers. And like the guy was trying to press him on like what he means by that sort of thing. And he was just like, I just don't like synthesis or something.
The fundamental.
The interviewer didn't get what he was talking about at all and like moved on. But I think what he means.
Yeah.
Is it like can be artificial and not real or organic, you know. Because the interviewer was like, well, what do you mean by synthesizer? Because it's basically a controller for any sound kind of thing. And I think that's kind of what David was thinking about. It's like, yeah, that's kind of, you know, it's like sampling and triggering things. It's like not really natural, or like it's synthesized versus human or something. I don't know.
Right.
It's kind of what I was thinking he meant from that, but he could have.
But they do use samples like on stage on tour, right?
Yeah.
They are triggering some samples.
I think he said they use a SPD sampler, and they have sounds in it, like stuff like snare drums that are like affected and mangled up and stuff like that.
So it seems like they're not shy to use technology
No,
to get the sounds that they want on stage or live, but they do have a high standard for like, we want to be real as much as possible, like using real instruments and playing stuff as much as possible.
Yeah.
Anything that doesn't have to be triggered as a sample.
Yeah, he said in one interview he's not a purist. He's not like, oh, we'll never use a backing track or whatever. He said he's not like that. Like he's open to anything like that. He did bring up an interesting thing about making music on the computer, which I totally align with as well, is he said that like making music on a computer is kind of can feel sort of analytical and too long of a process kind of thing, because you're thinking more about the music rather than letting the magic happen kind of thing.
Right.
You know, he said like, because he said they'll do different techniques in the studio where they'll put like towels on guitars to mute them, or sheets on pianos and stuff like that to get a certain sound kind of thing. And he said the cool thing about that is like when you do that, then you put a mic on it, then that's that, you know, that's how that sounds kind of thing. You can EQ it afterwards or whatever. He said, but with the computer, you know, you keep spending 4 hours with one plugin, you know, like debating between this saturation setting or this saturation setting or whatever.
Which I feel like it's the same exact thing. Like we're in a room, like, should we put a blanket on the piano? Should we put it in the corner? Should we move the mics?
Yeah.
Like that's the same as just having a plug-in and being like, oh, I'm going to change this knob. I'll put it back. I'll change this one now.
Yeah.
Like just testing things the same exact way through trial and error. Like this isn't exactly how I want it to sound. Let's experiment a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, Dirty Projectors are comfortable experimenting. And trying new things. I think there's a lot of similarities in technology. Yeah. Most people aren't super familiar with every single plugin that they use in Logic or Pro Tools or whatever DAW. Yeah. But they kind of know what the idea is, and they can, you know, try this, still experimenting. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. Just not analog, like with physical things. I think like the big, sorry. No, go on. I was done.
I think the biggest thing I noticed personally going from like my 8-track tape machine to the computer kind of thing is how you see music. Like, you know, when I was just on the tape track, it was about the sound of it, right? And you were just listening to it and making adjustments and arrangements, whatever it was, based on how things sounded kind of thing. But then you go to the computer and then it's all of a sudden so how things look. Like you can see the waveforms, you can see the grid.
It's visually laid out.
Yeah. And then in those early days, it's like, oh, it has to be in the grid. You know, you have to play to a click track. So you can like rearrange parts of the song or just make it work with the computer software kind of thing, which I think it just like made me think about music in a way that I didn't want to think about music in that way kind of thing.
Right.
Rigid, you know. And I think
cold,
yeah. And I think like, you know, like you say, I think there's a million different ways to make music. So no one way is better than the other, but I think maybe as musicians you like try all these different things and then you find the thing that works for what you want to do and go with that.
100%.
You know, like what's his name? Jack White from the White Stripes and all that. I know he just does all analog, reel-to-reel tape machine.
He's one of those fundamentalist type musicians who wants to use real stuff. Yeah. Probably doesn't have a computer in his studio.
Exactly, yeah. Same as Adrian Young. You know, he wants to do things that way. But David, like, you know, he does use computers, you know, to produce all of this music, but also a lot of organic instrumentation that's going into the computer. And, you know, he said he'll try different things. You know, he said sometimes it's fun to just cut up your performance in the computer and just randomly drag around parts because you can discover like a new order or a new thing that can be inspiring and stuff like that as well. So
I mean, implementing randomization.
Yeah.
You know, sampling yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. I think there's a lot of similarities more than there are differences than a lot of people would admit to. But I mean, it just comes down to everybody's different. Yeah. We all need a different diet, different nutrition to get to our optimal healthy self. Yeah. You know, mentally and physically, like our diet of information and what we consume, as well as the food and physical things we consume. Yeah. You know, we all are affected differently, and same thing when you're doing music. Like you're going to be able to be artistic or creative in this way, maybe not in this way, but somebody else, like Skrillex, is good at making music on a laptop. Maybe somebody else is better making music on a guitar. Yeah. It's not right or wrong. Yeah. But some people are more partial to this or that, and you just got to find your own way. Yeah. To
definitely. Yeah.
let it come out of you, you know?
And that's something I think about a lot. Is as a drummer, but as a struggling producer of music, I would call myself a struggling producer of music because I don't like. I know lots of people that make songs and release them, like yourself, like, but I just haven't been able to get there yet. And in like talking about these musicians and how they approach things is inspiring to me to like maybe think about, you know, I'm struggling so much with a computer trying to make something happen. Like maybe I need to try something else, see if that works, you know, like go to the instruments first or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
At this point, sometimes we forget that we don't have to use a laptop.
Yeah.
As is nothing more than a recording device to get something recorded.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously I know you have tons of recording equipment.
Yeah.
Like field recording. So you can just put that in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And get some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, back to Dirty Projectors, he's doing, you can tell a lot of this music, he's mixing like lo-fi techniques.
Yeah.
With those like drums just like incredibly distorted and like lo-fi and like crappy sounding, but also hi-fi stuff.
Yeah.
Making it sound really crisp, really beautiful, especially on that track we just played, like the crispy vocals, really pretty, really folky, but then really lo-fi kind of dirty drums.
Yeah.
And, you know, that dichotomy between the two is where I think this guy likes to explore.
Definitely. Yeah. No, it's cool. Like you can hear that in his experimentation because it's like he's not with, you know, some artists it's like it's lo-fi because that's the access to the equipment they have and whatever, or lack of knowledge of mixing or whatever. And then with him you can see he's using it purposefully on purpose. Yeah. As an aesthetic kind of thing. Like
right. Yeah, going for that.
The drums and stuff like that. Like,
which is cool. Yeah, not by accident that it's peaking.
Yeah.
Like they cool thing. I guess that's what's what I appreciate about this artist is he recognizes that you can have a song and you can have like the bones of a song. We've talked about this before, and you can push it in this direction or that direction in a different genre. Yeah. Or we could try it like this, try it like that. And there's different ways you can try to extract different meaning or emotion from a song, from a track. Yeah. And then there's the difference between like the track, the specifics of how it's produced, and the techniques used and the instruments used. Yeah. And so they'll experiment a lot. Yeah. We're talking about David Longstreth. Longstreth is the guy. So he's not afraid to like try a song multiple times, even release, you know, the same song in a different production style or instrumentation. Yeah.
Because you said he's fascinated or interested in how you can strip a song down just to the vocals and the acoustic guitar or piano and have it still work, which we've talked about a lot, you know.
Yeah, I would say like the ABC song, like everyone knows that song. You could put piano to it, you could put guitar, or you can produce a crazy ABC song track that's all, you know, digital and electronic. But it's still the song, the bones are there. And there's a lot of things you can do with that.
Definitely, yeah.
And so so I respect him because he's not afraid to just dive in and let's try something new. Yeah. I mean, I think we haven't talked about it yet, but that next album, Rise Above, I think would be the next one, 2007. Yeah. It's all re-released, or the redone recordings from Black Flag songs.
Yeah, from the band Black Flag, which is interesting. It's like a cover album, but he did these songs from memory. Of how they sounded or whatever, versus going back and...
Do you think he didn't listen to it like literally just from memory and he never used it as a reference?
He says from memory, so I'm going to say no, but it must be an album that he's super familiar with though, like one of his favorites or something like that he's listened to over and over again. Because like, you know, there are some albums, I don't know as intimately as that though, but like, you know, some Chili Peppers albums, I'd be like, how could I recreate Under the Bridge without listening to it again right now?
Yeah,
like, you know,
but you got the vibe still.
Yeah.
You don't even need to know which chords they were playing necessarily.
Yeah.
But the general instrumentation and the general vibe feel.
Which is an interesting way of doing it, because then maybe you're not actually covering, maybe you're just actually coming up with original stuff, like, and you don't know it or something. I don't know. Depends if he used the lyrics or not. I don't know if he I haven't actually listened to the album Rise Above, so I can't say whether the lyrical
I didn't listen
content
to it either.
Yeah.
But I like some Black Flag. What's the guy's name in Black Flag? I was trying to look it up.
Oh yeah, real famous guy.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Damn.
It's not coming up on this page.
No. Interesting. Or maybe it's a different group. Oh.
I thought Black Flag was with that one guy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's weird. It's not coming up.
But I can't find that guy's name. You know the guy I'm talking about.
I know the guy. He had a TV show, interview show. He does like stand-up stuff.
Yeah.
Henry Rollins.
Yeah, Henry Rollins. Why isn't his name coming up on this page?
On the Wikipedia. Yeah, that's weird.
But Henry Rollins.
Oh, yeah, he is as listed as a past member of Black Flag, Henry Rollins.
Oh, because Black Flag's still going, but he's not in it anymore?
No, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Henry Rollins is a real interesting guy.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's. If you ever, for viewers or listeners out there, go check out some or him speaking or being interviewed. He's got some really interesting ideas and thoughts, and he seems like a cool guy. He's been in some movies as well. He's acted in some strange comedic.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah,
he's doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. He does have some cool ideas.
Yeah.
That guy's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Should we play another song?
Yeah.
Dirty Projectors. What else you got on them?
We have.
We were just touching on the writing and the music.
Yeah. Well, let's play a track off of. Don't know how to pronounce this album. Bite Orca or Bite Orca.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like French or something, so it's like Bite.
Bitte Orca. It's coming up in Google as German word for "you're welcome."
Can we get is there a little audio of the person saying that, the pronunciation?
Let's see if this works. Oh, no, wrong thing.
Bitte.
Bitte.
Bitter. Sounds like bitter.
Bitter. Yeah, it sounds like bitter.
Bitte.
With a UK accent. Bitte Orca.
Yeah. Stillness is the move. Let's play this track.
All right. This is one of my picks.
From Bitter Orca.
When the child was just a child, it did not know what it was. Like a child, it had no habits, no opinion about anything. Maybe I will get a job as a way to rest. Maybe waiting tables in a diner in some random city. Down the highway, after all that we've been through, I know we'll make it. I know that we. The question is it true? There is nothing we can do. I'll see you along the way, baby. The stillness is a moon. On top of every mountain, there was a great longing for another even higher mountain. So each city longing for a bigger city. After all that we've been through, I know that I will always love you from now until forever, baby. I can't imagine anything better. After all that we've been through, I know we'll make it. I know the
Some nice strings happening there.
Yeah, very nice sounding.
Stillness is the move. Featuring Amber Kaufman on vocals. She was a member of the band until 2013. She was also David's girlfriend. So they were in the band and they were dating and they broke up and she left the group. She has released some solo albums, I see here, which might be worth checking out. Her last one was in 2017. Yeah.
Right on.
So.
But she was one of the main vocalists for the group, like kind of during a big part of their come up, kind of, and the main part of their I don't know how long they're going to go on for. I don't want to say the main part of their career, but the beginning part. Yeah, but not the first few albums.
From 2006. So I think from the Getty Address album all the way through to Swinglo Magellan, which came out in 2012. Magellan.
I think that's how I'm saying it.
Yeah. So she was around for like 4 albums and that, yeah.
I think that was a good sweet spot for them.
Well, yeah, because also this album, Bitter Orca, was their first one that came out on Domino. They got signed to Domino label. Big label.
They did like a 4 or 5 record run with that label.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, as often happens with Dirty Projectors, I think they get a group of members together to tour live and stuff like that, and that's where a lot of that collaboration comes out of when they go back into the studio after touring,
right?
Kind of thing. So yeah, so she was around for that first album, which was their breakthrough album, they call it. It was pretty big for them, critical response,
right?
Then the Swing Low, what'd you say, Magellan?
Magellan. I think that's right.
And he said, some people have said that album is a little bit more straightforward versus their more experimental history kind of thing. He said, some people said it's like a break from the conceits of the past, the conceits of, that's a way to say.
Okay. The
conceited sounds like a bad word to me, so I wouldn't call their albums conceit. Or I don't know. Maybe like just a way of doing things, but this album, they said, some people said it's got like Beatles style piano ballads, like folk rock. It's more of a standard verse chorus structure, stuff like that.
Leaning into their indie influence.
Yeah. David said he thinks this album's a better record than Bitter Orca. He said Bitter Orca was more like a mission statement, but it bit off more than it could chew, is what he said. So he said Swing Low Magellan is a deeper record in every way. It's more musically inventive, albeit a bit less bombastic and less show-offy way. It's more elegant musically, and the lyrics are way better than anything on Bitter Orca, is what David said.
They're both good though. You're gonna artist, you're gonna perceive your own work in one way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So maybe other people don't see it that way.
Yeah, and and then this kind of sort of leads into the 2017 album, which they self-titled Dirty Projectors. And people have said that's a breakup record because he was writing specifically about his breakup with Amber and putting that into the music kind of thing. But he also said lyrically, like he feels like on his previous lyrics, he's just been like trying to come up with cool phrases. Whereas on this album, Dirty Projectors 2017, he was trying to write more like stories or feeling, emotion in every song kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, putting his relationship with the member that was in the band on blast a little bit, kind of, which is interesting.
Yeah, I hope she's okay with that.
Yeah, we don't know. He said they don't talk anymore, unfortunately, but he said, she was a really good friend throughout all these years, and he hopes that they can collaborate at some point in the future. He said because he thinks it's a long road, like life or music and all that. So yeah, he's not ruling out working with her again in the future.
That's
which
good.
Is cool.
Keep an open mind.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry for them.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened. It's not our business.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't put that out there. But I guess if you like maybe go through the album and listen to the lyrics, you might get some sense. But it's also like one-sided. I feel like if you're writing a breakup album,
we don't know. It's he said,
perspective.
she said. What he's got the album out though.
But he's got like certain titles on this, like "Keep Your Name" as a track title, "Death Spiral," "Up in Hudson," "Work Together," "Little Bubble," "Winner Take Nothing," "Ascent Through the Clouds," "Cool Your Heart," and the last track on that album is "I See You."
Okay.
So even just in the titles, you're getting some kind of a sense of.
Yeah, no, he's working through some stuff. He's thinking about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. Music is a great outlet to express yourself that way, or to learn about yourself even that way, through the creation of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
really introspective.
Yeah. A lot of people say that finding yourself through music and that exploration of that. Yeah. Which is cool.
We're all just trying to find ourselves, Jay.
I know, yeah.
It's a process.
Sometimes I can't find myself, and I'm like, did I leave myself in the fridge? Or was it
check.
let me check. They're the keys. Oh.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Also, I guess like crazy collaborations that David has been able to do throughout the years as well. He moved to LA at a certain point, I think.
Yeah, he built a studio in LA.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he's kind of based out of now.
Yeah, and of all people, he has worked on a track with Kanye West. I think there's like a track. Let me just find the name of it. That they said he wrote the hook for. It was a track called 4 or 5 Seconds, which featured Rihanna, Kanye West, and Paul McCartney.
Wow. I remember that track.
You do? I hadn't recall it.
I mean, I think it came out like almost 10 years ago now.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometime back then.
Yeah.
Maybe not that far back.
Okay.
But at least 5.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And he also said, I think, 2017 was when he was writing Dirty Projectors, and actually he said about that album, the breakup album, is that he wasn't really intentionally trying to write that into an album. He just said he was putting these songs together, and he was starting to play them for other people, and they were liking it. And he said at this time he was actually going to LA on trips to work with Kanye West. He also met Rick Rubin, and like he was playing tracks from this Dirty Projectors album to Kanye West and to Rick Rubin, and getting their like feedback and input on it and stuff.
So he's playing with the big boys.
Yeah, and they encouraged him to like put it out or something, and just
Nice.
Crazy. Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't realize he worked that close with him.
Neither did I. Yeah. I mean, Rick Rubin, from all the stories I hear, he's definitely, I think we've mentioned it in another episode, he's definitely someone that encourages artists to like be themselves and put and just, forget about the industry and image and all of that, and just focus on what you want to say and be honest in your music and stuff like that.
Rick Rubin, I don't know about his technical prowess, but he's almost more like a music philosopher, therapist kind of role as
It's
a
like
producer.
a sensei or something.
Yeah, he's a music sensei. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
He has his dojo.
Yeah.
Shangri-La.
Definitely, yeah.
So, I mean, cool guy.
And so Dave was also working with Solange, who's Beyonce's sister. I think she appeared doing vocals on a Dirty Projectors album, I think.
Yeah, there was some kind of connection there I was trying to see, because back to Rise Above, that was produced by, I think it's the singer or one of the guys in the band Grizzly Bear.
Oh, okay, I've heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, and they got some really cool stuff too.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about them in the future.
Yeah.
They have some really cool music, but he helped produce Rise Above in 2008.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know, there's some kind of connection. I think Beyonce was at a Grizzly Bear concert with Jay-Z maybe. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I'm just like putting this together right now. Like they were at the concert, he produced Dirty Projectors, Rise Above.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, there's some kind of circle that I'm seeing, but I'm not sure I don't know the whole story.
Yeah. He said though, working with Solange on some of her stuff inspired him. I think around that time, because the breakup was kind of heavy for him, I think. And he said like he said Solange probably doesn't know this, but like she inspired him like musically to sort of get out of that funk and that hole that he was in, kind of thing,
Right.
and come out of it. So,
Well, that's amazing. Good.
Yeah,
Found a friend.
Yeah.
A confidant.
exactly. He's also David Longstreth again. He worked on a whole album with Bjork as well, which is crazy.
Bjork's pretty huge.
Yeah. He said about working with her that she's kind of like a Jedi.
Yeah.
He said that she said she's a really nice person, and she can just talk about normal things in the studio, talk about teas or whatever and stuff like that. He said, and he said that she said she would say yes to everything, and she'd be really open to his ideas and the other co-producers in the studio, and and he said they'd just be like going through their processes and throwing out their ideas, and she'd like put her stuff on it. And he said, but by the end of the project, it was like definitely a Bjork project. And he said that's why she's a Jedi, because she's like, it feels like you're just doing everything like that you want to do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she's filtering it and putting it out in her way, kind of thing.
Without
pushing
seeming
it,
overbearing,
or
this is my project, you do this.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, she sounds really creative and really. They said that about her as well. They said she's really, really good artist to work with. Like,
She sounds intuitive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like a good producer producer of the mind. How do we get these guys to organize? That's so much of production and making music is how to organize the people.
Yeah.
Like you need a HR department in your band.
Right. Yeah.
To make sure everyone's working together, make sure there's no liabilities for the group.
Yeah.
And push everything forward in a positive way where people aren't getting mad at each other and arguing and stuff. So props to Bjork.
Yeah, props. And then I guess Dirty Projectors.
That was their self-titled in 2017.
Yeah. Then in 2018 they had another album, Lamp Lit Prose, came out on Domino again. They did a live album after that in 2019.
Sing the Melody.
Yeah. And then we're sort of bringing us up to 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Like
on the cusp.
Yeah. Their new lineup again, new 5-piece. And the members of this are David, obviously, multi-instrumentalist, vocals. Mm-hmm. Mike Daniel Johnson on drums, Maya Friedman on guitar, keys, vocals, Felicia Douglas, percussion, keys, vocals, and Kristen Slip on keys and vocals. And that's the current lineup. Some of these people have been around for a while. Mike Daniel Johnson has been in and out of the band, but he first was with them in 2012. And the other members have been with them since 2018. And he said, so they released this, they call it the 5 EPs.
Yeah, let's talk about the 5 EPs.
Yeah.
Because in 2020, all through 2020, they released 5 separate EPs.
Yeah.
But, for example, on Spotify, there's an album, and it's not an EP, it's an album.
Yeah.
It's in the album section
of
the discography.
Called
Called 5 EPs.
Yeah, so they did actually all come out at different times, and they had different titles. The first one was Windows Open, came out in March 2020. And Flight Tower came out in May. Lose Your Love was the name of another one. And then September was the last one, I think, called Super Jow. Well, I can't pronounce. It's like the name of a famous musician. It's Joao, Brazilian. Are we going to consult Google for pronunciation?
We're doing it more and more these days.
Now we've found it. We've had actually like different episodes where we didn't know to pronounce words and we just left it hanging.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Now we have Google to say things. No, not coming up. Anyway, never mind.
Oh, okay. This is okay. Yeah,
I think it's Joao. Well,
Joao.
Says.
Joao.
Oh,
Joao.
Portuguese.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds about right.
So 5 EPs, and it's cool. Yeah, and then so eventually the record label decided to put them all together as one 20-track album called the 5 EPs.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, and
Cool music on there.
yeah. So the cool thing about this is each of these 5 EPs, they have a different singer leading each one from the group, kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And then the last one is David on vocals, and he said, like, you know, the point of all of this was to introduce the new lineup and the new sounds that they're creating to the fans and to the world, kind of thing, and doing it via these sort of like vignette EPs,
Right.
and
Kind of a little bit of a little focus on the different artists.
And he said then after that, coming in the future, they're going to do a whole new album with all of them, kind of thing.
Bet. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, his brother Jake did the covers artwork for each of those EPs as well. And his work is like it's like illustrations, paintings, a little bit of like kind of modern America. Like he has like images of like big box retailers and like advertising placards that are turned around so you can't see what's on them. And,
Oh, okay.
and if you go on the Dirty Projectors website, it's kind of interesting because it's like the whole page is like a gallery, and you have like the album or the EP cover hanging on the wall, and each member of the band, just like there's one person looking at it, like, and you just swipe through and you can see each of the members just like looking at the album.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of an interesting aesthetic, visual thing going on there.
Yeah. So I like this 5 EPs project because it kind of like what you were saying, this vignette idea, this focus idea. And they were also kind of focusing on just going back to like making music without a big grand plan.
Right.
And like, let's produce it and move it in this specific direction. Like, let's just try to go for it. Get all the ideas quickly. And put them down. And create what's like right on the forefront of our minds at the time, instead of overthinking it and reproducing and re-releasing. So I just thought that was cool. Kind of they're bringing it back to basics along with the focus on the different singers and stuff. So overall, cool, unique project. Doing, planning 5 EPs. Not that weird because Kanye West did that a few years ago, releasing like 7 albums, each with 7 songs, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I missed that.
So they're called, I think they're called labeled albums. And these are EPs technically, but basically either way. But either way, cool.
Yeah, that's something else that David said about making music as well, is like he thinks things should be done quickly. Like, like you say, going with your instincts, the intuition sort of thing. Like, I like that idea, He also said about writing, he said sometimes he'll come up with something, and he said the quicker you can realize where that should sit in the song, the better. Because he said you'll come up with something and it will be like a bridge.
Right.
And he's like, oh, okay, that's a bridge for sure. Then he's like trying to write the other parts that complement that. It's like, how can we get there in this part of the song, sort of thing, which I'd never heard before, that concept. And it just kind of resonated with me a little bit about,
that totally resonated with me too, because it's like, if you got one part, what are you going to do next? You could do anything in the world. Like, it's literally infinite options. But you can kind of focus on this, and it's like if you're looking at a color wheel, like if you're on blue, then you can kind of look to the opposite side and like what's contrasting to that idea, and let's try that, something to create a multi-dimensional track.
Are you referring to the musical color wheel as well, or just the color wheel?
Well, there's like a circle of fifths.
I've seen that.
That's what it's called, circle of fifths.
Yeah, where you find like the note and then you see the opposing note.
That's not what I was talking about. I was just talking about more metaphorically. But in actuality, that's another way to do it. Like if I'm in this area, I'm in this key. What's something that I could do to contrast that key to make it feel different? Like we're going somewhere, or we're going back and forth. Rather than just an 8-bar loop over and over for 5 minutes. Which there are tracks like that are super cool too. Not throwing shade on there. But just kind of going with that next thing. Like if he's got the bridge, then what can I do to complement that in a different way to drive the song? And like you said, get all these ideas out like right now. Like put them down raw and work with that material
Yeah.
rather than work on a bridge and make sure that you got a really cool bridge part, but 6 months later I'm going to add the verse and try to do something.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit. It doesn't matter. But that's one path that this guy, David, what's his name? Lenchman? My bad.
We've already forgotten his last name. Oh my God.
Longman.
Yeah.
Lindman.
Longstreth.
Longstreth. Sorry, David.
Yeah. He also said, he will have parts of songs that like just sit around for ages as well, though. Like that he'll write something and not really have a place for it, and then 5 years later he'll like finally yes, we can put it with this thing I'm doing, kind of thing. I don't know how he documents that. He must record riffs or something.
I'm sure.
Them. I don't know. Like
Yeah, it's crazy how something could kind of sit in your head for years and years, and it's always kind of there. Which
is also good, right? It means it must be something if you remember it.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this recently with like Paul McCartney, and he was.
No, I think you're right. Yeah,
talking about how they wrote Beatles songs and they didn't have any way of recording it back then, so they just had to remember. And then when they went into the studio, do it. And like he said, well, if you couldn't remember it, it probably wasn't very good.
Wasn't worth remembering.
Yeah, exactly,
so forget it. But if you remember it the next day,
it's catchy or whatever.
Then that's something. Let's work on that.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's and same as what this guy's doing. David is kind of just going at it like from, is it good? That raw energy.
Yeah.
If it's good, let's keep going. If it's not, let's throw it away until just lay it all out on the sleeve.
Yeah.
Hard on the sleeve.
Yeah.
And let's just go for it.
Yeah. Well, cool.
That's all I got on Dirty Projectors.
Yeah.
Jay, what are you thinking?
I forgot. I think Overlord was the track we opened up with, right? From 5 EPs.
I believe so.
So we'll play out with another track, which is from David's EP, which is the last EP that came out, which is in reference to Zhao, which is a tribute to late bossa nova legend João Gilberto.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
cool.
So we'll play out with that. But yeah, this has been Rooster Grooves.
Yeah, Dirty Projectors. Awesome stuff. Super interesting. It really sucked me in. They got a lot of material to listen to.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it. Great choice by Jay.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know half the music, so definitely have to go back and listen to some things there.
100%.
Yeah.
No, same. I'm listening to some more tonight.
Cool.
And but yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. If you got any more information, hit us up. Any comments, concerns? If you're worried about us, let me know. But hit us up at that email, Jay. What is that?
rootstogrooves@signalradio.com. SIGNL radio.com. We're on TikTok as well at Signal Radio. We're on Instagram as Signal Radio and Roots to Grooves. We have an Instagram which I need to get back on top of as well. And
yeah, we'll be there. So meet us there. We'll see you on Insta. We'll see you on the socials.
Yeah.
And since Jay said TikTok, that means we're done.
I started out toward the mountain from the mouth of
Roots to Grooves is a production of Signal Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's signl radio.com.